The first members of the title club in Sons of Anarchy are known as the First Nine, and while some died before the events of the show, many of them were highly influential to the club for years. Sons of Anarchy premiered on FX in 2008 to great success, allowing it to continue for a total of 7 seasons, ending in 2014. The events of Sons of Anarchy begin when the club's VP, Jax Teller, Charlie Hunnam, finds the manifesto of his late father, John J.T. Teller, one of the founders of the club. What follows are Jax's efforts to fulfill his father's wishes for the club, which are very different from the views of the current president and Jax's stepfather, Clay Morrow, Ron Perlman. However, Jax soon learns that it's not as easy as it seems, as he also confronts various enemies outside the club and within Samcro, too. Throughout Sons of Anarchy, the First Nine are mentioned and some of them appear on the show, but some were more influential to the show and the club than others, and some, unfortunately, faded into obscurity. 9. Thomas Uncle Tom Whitney. Tom was killed in 1995. Sons of Anarchy First Nine Samcro. Thomas Uncle Tom Whitney was the 6th member of Samcro, and he was introduced to the club by his friend Walter Wally Grazer. Wally knew Tom from their younger years, making money in not very honest ways, and felt he would be of great help to the club. Unfortunately, not much is known about Tom, except that he was arrested and imprisoned, and he was stabbed to death in 1995 by other inmates. 8. Chico Villanueva. Chico died in 1976. Sons of Anarchy member Patch. Chico Villanueva joined Samcro in 1968. Like other members of the club, he served in the Marines doing a tour in Vietnam, but had nothing to return to. As a result, Chico got involved in running illegal substances for his cousins, which gave him a reason to ride his motorcycle from the border of Mexico up to Oakland. Chico was riding and doing stunts on his bike when he met Samcro, who were out on a run. Chico was asked to join the club, and he provided a link to the Mayans MC. Chico passed away in 1976, at the age of 32. 7. Walter Wally Grazer. Wally killed himself in 1986. Sons of Anarchy members riding. Walter Wally Grazer left his family home at the age of 16 and began living as a drifter. After not making enough money to live by working dead-end jobs, Wally turned to crime, and he met his friend Tom Whitney. Wally met an unspecified member of Samcro when he sold some stolen goods to him, and he invited Wally to meet the club. Wally ended up being key to the club improving financially, as they initially struggled to get the funds they needed, and got them involved in the stolen goods trade. Wally struggled with cirrhosis and killed himself in 1986. 6. Otto Lil Killer Moran. Otto was found dead in 1985. Sons of Anarchy Jax and the Boys riding. Otto Lil Killer Moran met Samcro on a Memorial Day run in La Honda, California. Despite being skinnier and shorter than the rest, Otto worked as a bouncer at a bar and had heard about Samcro, so when he met them in La Honda, he asked them what he had to do to join. JT and the rest agreed to let him ride to see if he was worthy, and he definitely proved it. Otto got the club various gigs as security, helped them make extra cash, and got them some good connections. However, Otto also had a gambling problem, and because of it, he was in large debt. In 1985, Otto was found dead in the Sacramento River, and though foul play was initially suspected, most likely due to his gambling problems, it was never confirmed. 5. Keith McGee. Keith was killed by Clay. Keith McGee in Sons of Anarchy. 1. Keith McGee, Andrumkvi, is one of only 4 members of SAMCRO's First Nine who appear in Sons of Anarchy, though his time in the series is brief. McGee was Irish, and he arrived in the US in the 1960s and met JT, Clay, and Lenny when they returned from the war. Keith joined their club and years later returned to Belfast with JT and Clay, where they formed SAMCRO's Belfast Charter, known as SAMBL. Keith became the president of SAMBL, becoming the link between Samcro and the IRA. After JT's death, he looked after Maureen Ashby, with whom JT had an affair and a daughter named Trinity, with Keith and Maureen eventually getting together. Keith made his Sons of Anarchy debut in Season 3, when Jax and others traveled to Belfast to rescue his baby son, who was kidnapped by Cameron Hayes. Keith's partnership with Jimmy O'Phelan was what led to his death, as the plan was to let Samcro out of the true IRA's gun-running business without anything bad happening to them, but Jimmy wanted the opposite. Keith was put in a very uncomfortable position where he had to choose where his loyalty was, but he was revealed to Clay and the rest as a traitor. Per the club's rules, Keith had to meet Mr. Mayhem, and before his death, Keith confessed he did it for the money. Clay took his patch and pushed him off the roof, and later gave Keith's First Nine patch to Maureen. Although he wasn't around for long, Keith was one of the earliest examples of what happens when an active member of the club betrays his brothers. 4. Leonard Lenny the Pimp Jankowitz. Lenny continued to be very loyal to the club. Lenny and Jax talking in Sons of Anarchy. Leonard Jankowitz, Sonny Barger, joined the army when he was young and met JT and Piney at boot camp. They lost touch but reconnected after a mission in Hanoi, and when JT and Piney founded the club, they knew they needed Lenny, as he was very intelligent and also a no-nonsense man. Lenny became SAMCRO's third member, as well as the club's first SGT at arms, meaning he was the president's, JT, right-hand man. Lenny was very popular with women, which he used to his advantage and made it a business, thus the nickname, the Pimp. During a raid in 1989, Lenny was charged with the murder of 3 ATF agents and served a life sentence at Stockton State Prison. Because of this, all of Lenny's appearances in Sons of Anarchy are in prison, but he showed his undying loyalty to the club every time. In prison, Lenny built an alliance with the Russian mafia, serving as their link to the club. Sonny Barger was a founding member of the Oakland chapter of the Hells Angels, Piermorne, Piney, Winston. Piney was Opie's father. Sons of Anarchy Piney. Piermorne Winston was JT's best friend and the father of Opie, Ryan Hurst, Jax's best friend. Along with JT, Piney founded Samcro when they returned from Vietnam. Piney didn't become SAMCRO's president after JT's death due to health issues, but remained an active member of the club so he could have a vote and keep an eye on Clay, whom he never fully trusted. Piney also stayed as SAMCRO's VP until Jax was old enough to take a seat at the table and Piney could step down so Jax could take over his role. Throughout Sons of Anarchy, Piney carried an oxygen tank due to emphysema, and though he rarely rode with the club, he was present at all meetings. Piney knew about Maureen Ashby's letters from JT in which the latter shared his suspicions about Clay and Gemma, Katie Segal, conspiring to kill him, which obviously didn't sit well with Clay. This, along with other disagreements, led Clay to kill Piney at his own home, framing the Lobo Sonora for it. Piney was the third First Nine member killed by Clay.